Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon, and today we're just going to be having a super typical jungle coaching. We're coaching a Grandmaster Peak jungler whose problems are largely related to efficiency, and I mean this is pretty much like what I see a majority of junglers struggle with. Is pretty much exactly what he does, and so I think it's useful for you guys. I've definitely talked about all these concepts before, previous coaching videos. I've talked about this, and yet I still see most of the people I coach make these same mistakes, and so I want to continue to have videos that are based around it and that help you guys understand this. If you guys are interested in getting coached by me, a rank 1 solo queue player, where jungle is a role that I played a lot in solo queue, but I've obviously gotten challenger in every role and whatnot. So if you guys are interested in getting coached by me, just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or through the link in the description to my Discord server. It's $25 an hour for coaching, and let's get right into the video.
Yes, and nowadays all the replays get lost. So also I was thinking next time I'll probably record the games instead.
Oh yeah, so you have to do like later games then?
Yeah. But I think yesterday I played 2 games. I played a few games, but yeah, there are a lot of mistakes that I made. So
Okay.
I'm sure that we can look into that. Okay, can we start now?
Yeah. I'm recording right now, so yeah, I just...
Okay. I'll start sharing my screen then.
I coached you once before, right?
Yeah, you did. That was a few months ago if I'm not wrong. But I was playing mid lane back then.
And now you're on a different role?
Yeah, now I'm playing jungle because I feel I don't know, it's just easier for me to play jungle than mid because there's more influence for me to, make a difference and all.
Yeah, and what are you at right now? You say you're Grandmasters, which is the highest you've been. Looks like
Yeah,
you've been there one other time.
this is my pick. Last season I reached it in I think 300 games. This season I reached it in 100 games. But to be fair, I started late. I was busy with school and all. So
Gotcha.
so I realized that I started losing more when I reached GM, which is and the way I lost is even worse because I don't know, my fundamentals are not there compared to those in the higher ranks or what. But okay,
Also, you should go
I
Bloodthirster
probably
first on Nyla, by the way. Like your build, it should be Bloodthirster first and Navori second. But yeah.
yeah. I usually go what's the executioner first because I can there's the threshold to execute them and all, and then I would sell it for Nabui's quick blade in the late game depending on the scenario and all. But this game even though we won and I got MVP, I felt that I made so many mistakes and if it wasn't for the Gwen and the Katarina, the game would have gone either way, I think.
Okay.
Um, so yeah.
Is your goal to get Challenger, or do you have any specific goal with this coaching?
I think this season there's like 1 month left, right? I think I
Yes,
can I
yes.
can get challenger in that period.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
so
Fog of War.
eh,
There you
this
go.
one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And do you feel like you have any specific like problems or things you want to look at? Like anything in particular, or not really?
Actually, yeah, there's a game that I wanted to show you, but the game got addicted yesterday, so the replay was gone. But I was against a Nyla jungle, and normally when I play jungle, rotation my rotation does not change because I always rotate towards the duo lane,
Okay.
and it's always I clear 5 cam and go for scuttle, or I clear the whole jungle and I contest scuttle, depending on whether I think that I can out farm or out clear the jungler.
Yeah.
But when I was against Nyla, which I know, I mean everyone knows this, she's very big early game. So what I did was that I went straight for her jungle instead, and then it kind of messed up
Like you
my
invaded at
clearing
level
and
one,
my
or
no, I cleared my buff and I went straight to her opposite buff because I knew where she started. But
uh,
that was another game. Yeah.
yeah. No, I
But
generally wouldn't recommend doing things like that because like the thing you can really do as like a
yeah,
Vi, for example, and do Nyla or just anyone like that is you just use the fact that you have a faster clear to just get a lot more plays off. Like you do your normal
yeah,
level, you get up to level 5 and then like you're gonna be level 5, she's gonna be level 4, 95% of the games.
yeah,
You use that to kind
yeah,
of outpace her and you just continue to outpace her. And then like Vi is not even bad at shutting her down later on in the game because of your CC. I mean, obviously you'll get
yeah.
outscaled, but it's not like unplayable. So do you always path towards dual lane is what you said?
Yeah, I always
Then you
do.
don't have to pause. Like you're just gonna be clearing. Like we're just like I don't think I'm
Okay,
gonna need to
okay.
teach you how to clear. So
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I always go towards my dual laners because unless I see that my barrier laner like I can definitely give them private. Like for example, a Fiora against like a Camille, for example. Like if Fiora
Mhm.
wins that matchup, she can probably be by her own at that point in time. You know.
Yeah, and I definitely don't recommend only pathing towards dual lane as Vi. Like Vi is really good at ganking a solo lane with her single target damage, and then okay,
Mm.
you get damage there, something goes well, and then or like you get a kill there, whatever, you can get a turret. Whereas if you get a gank bot lane, usually you don't get plates or anything out of it because of the fact that unless you kill both of them, like they're gonna be protecting, you're gonna get less out of it. I'm not saying to path towards solo lane most of the time. What I'm saying is you want to look at the specific matchup. So like if you said like if
Yeah.
you were a Camille or whatever, like you should be very concerned with the matchup because here you don't have great lanes of Bator. Like Garen is hard to
Yeah.
kill. Obviously Gwen's not going to do much early game, and then Braum, Lucian are also insanely strong and hard to kill, and you don't have the
Yeah.
best gank setup. So like you don't really have a good lane to path towards here. And when you don't have a good lane to path towards, you want to path ideally to like whatever lane's a little stronger, just to have prio, even though you're probably not going to like gank them. And
Yeah.
in this case, it's pretty 50-50. Again, like this is really, I would probably path where you pathed in the end because I don't think Braum
Yeah.
is going to be like the scariest for killing them. He's just going to be hard if we gank or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah. So okay, at this point in time, I mean,
the
you
Riven
saw
game
that
top,
the
yeah. Yeah.
Riven, yeah. So in that point in time, I was in two places in my mind. You
You
know,
were
it's
thinking either
either I go
invade
up
or
to help
just,
him,
yeah,
yeah, and if I were to go invade, that means I will go to a blue buff straight. But
yeah,
when I saw her moving back to the jungle, I thought that okay, that means that I can get L5 first. So if I'm not wrong, I went to clear my whole jungle.
yeah.
Either that or I think I took my blue. I can't remember exactly.
It looks like you invade
But
her.
I was
But
taking a risk because I
But no,
didn't know if
yeah,
they had vision or not.
I don't necessarily want to invade in this type of situation because it ends up making your whole clear a lot slower. It's not the worst invade because you know you can probably get it before she gets there. But when you see someone being really inefficient for the most part, the way you want to approach it is you want to be just way more efficient than them because then they're going to get screwed super hard. So if you did just full clear, like you'd already be way higher level here. Unfortunately, that flash was obviously not needed. You should have just,
Yeah.
been a bit more patient, but that's okay. Like that happens. But yeah, no, like you can see here. So yeah, pause here. I do want to explain something, and now it's a good time to pause.
Okay.
So normally you would have done already all 6 camps, correct? Like you would have done your 6 camps by this time, and you'd be on
But at this
schedule.
point, yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
so because Vi is very fast clear, and so now if we look at
yeah,
it, because the Riven was really inefficient, you decided now you're going to be inefficient because now we can see again, your entire red side is now not going to be cleared until 2 minutes or later, which means it won't respawn again until around 3:30, like your buff, or well, your buff won't respawn until 4:30 rather, and your small camps won't respawn until close to 4. So now, instead of normally, when do our camps respawn around here? They respawn around, like 3:15, right?
yeah,
Or 3:45, not 3:15. Sorry, my brain. I woke up recently, but 3:45 they respawn. Now they're not going to respawn until 4, the earliest, and then the latest one's at 4:30. So you have like 45 seconds later that these camps are going to be now respawning compared to normally, which means you have to come here later, you're going to be more efficient. And then what that really does, that's the real problem, is okay, so say you clear your red buff at 4:30 and your small camps at 4, then your small camps don't respawn until 5:50, and your big camp, your buff, doesn't respawn until 6:30, which means you don't get to clear those before dragon, or if you try to clear them before dragon, you're going to be late to dragon slash herald, right? So
yeah,
the issue with this inefficiency is what it does to you 4 minutes from now. And that's what's hard. It's like, it's hard to think, okay, well, what's going to happen 4 minutes from now? You're probably not thinking about that. You're thinking about the next 30 seconds. You're like, oh, I want to deny Riven. So if you did the same things, you did your 6 camps, and then Riven was still being inefficient, and then you invade, then it's okay because you don't have other things to do. But we'd rather just be super efficient because what happens then is, okay, if Riven does go to their blue side, well, since they were super inefficient, Riven's not going to finish their blue side until, let's say, 2:20, right? Random time, I don't know exactly, but roughly 2:20, 2:10,
yeah,
whatever. And because of that, you're going to be done at 1:40. He's going to be, or she's going to have an additional 30 seconds on blue side. What that means is now you get whatever you want. If you want to match her, higher level, stronger, you see your bot lane doing well and you want to gank, then you get to match her in a 3v3 or a 4v4 if mid rotates, and you're super happy. Or
yeah,
she you don't see anything bot side, you recall, you go top side, and now you get to clear your top side camps before her, and then you get to again find a gank top side. Or if someone started Krugs, which she did this game, when do her Krugs respawn?
I think about a minute or 1 minute and a half after she kills him, right?
It's a minute and 50 seconds after they kill.
Yeah.
So she'll kill it around. But so what time around the map? Are you aware of like what time the game would be at when those Krugs would roughly respawn?
I'm not. I can't say the exact time, but when I'm in game, I can kind of tell when it's gonna
Yeah.
spawn.
And
But
so it
my
should be, if they start at Krugs, it will be around 220 because they'll kill it around 30 seconds ish. And that's 150,
yeah
150 would be 220. If they start red buff and then they go Krug second, a lot of times it's going to be closer to around 230, 245, or not 245, like 230, 235. So the point is, if she's stuck on her blue side until 215, she's very likely, because we've already seen her be dumb, gonna go for a gank on your bottom lane, and then that's gonna mean she's gonna be stuck there till 230, 245, at which time her red side's gonna spawn. So because you were
yeah
inefficient, now you lose the ability of choice. You don't get to choose, I want to gank here or here, since again, if you were more efficient than her, you could just go wherever you want, since some of your camps won't be respawning for a while. And then you're also losing the opportunity to invade her later in a safer way, because you did admit this is a risky invade. You're level 3, right? So you're just not that strong until
yeah
level 5 is Vi. The enemy could rotate. They could have had a ward there, because again, a lot of times people are going to ward there. They could come to punish you. Riven could have
yeah
straight went to their blue side, because sometimes they're, thinking, oh, maybe I got invaded. A million things could have gone wrong, whereas if you did what I say, it's going to work every time. So does that make sense?
yeah. So I guess it's safe for me to assume that moving forward, it's always better for me to do for jungle full clear or prior to get level 5 first instead.
Like
But
95%
yeah,
of scenarios. There's going to be
yeah
some rare scenarios where, yes, don't full clear. And you're right about the 5 camp. Like what you said about 5 camp, sometimes that's good. Sometimes you 5 camp and scuttle and then you go back for your last, because sometimes you think I can contest scuttle. That's fine. You're doing 5 camp minimum, usually 6 camp. That's fine. Every once in a while, it might be okay to do something different, but it's very, very rare. So just as a very general rule, yeah.
okay.
You can start the replay unless you have more questions. It's on 0.5, so put it back to 1. And unfortunate smite. I mean, you made a couple mechanical misplays here, obviously, like with your flash the one time, and then the smite, and that's fine. Like that's gonna happen. That's not really something I'm concerned with. And also when you recall, you need to take sweeper. Like you control ward the opposite side of where you're gonna start. You recall, you take sweeper. You have control ward for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, normally, okay.
And again, you don't need
so
to pause
I have
everything.
this.
Like we're gonna be here for an hour if you do. So yeah.
All right.
Well, we're over an hour. We're gonna be here an hour. You go ahead anyway. So what was up?
Yeah, so I have this habit of when I start the game with Vi, I would first kill straight out of base. So when I recall what I did was in this game, after I recall, I straight away used my first kill, so I couldn't switch my ward. So I was like, I'm not gonna waste time with that now. But I think throughout the whole game, I forgot to change to sweeper lens the whole game, which is
that happens.
a mistake.
Yeah, but it happens.
Yeah.
Like that's the norm. Again, these aren't the mistakes I'm worried about. Sometimes I do forget the same thing. So that happens. But yeah. Then we can see here as well, you're kind of low health again, just because we did kind of late contest, and so it just led to us being a little weaker here, and so then now it's pretty hard for you to like gank or anything. Again, because we got contested by Riven, just for that reason. So I wouldn't recall here. The reason I wouldn't recall is because all your camps are spawning. I'd rather clear all these camps and then recall for just efficiency's sake. Because instead now, these camps take an additional 5 seconds to respawn, and then now this is a huge issue if you try to go. You're looking at Riven, you shouldn't even be thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at it. Yeah.
And then you're trying to invade. I think it's fine to invade, but again, so we can see here already, like with how inefficient they are. I haven't scrolled over, but if we know that their camps are up or whatever, shall we? Because I'm assuming you looked and saw he didn't have red, so you knew. But again, if we were super efficient this game, like you would be punishing this, a minute ago, because like you can see how inefficient the jungler is. He hasn't cleared this, and it's been over a minute, and we saw their jungler ended this game like 1-11, so clearly they're like a really shit player. And so your invade awareness here is fine. Again, the efficiency just means we are able to do it way better. And again, you were like you were thinking about contesting that Riven there. No, you just go and clear your camps. Like even if say the Riven was efficient and didn't do that, you wouldn't invade or you wouldn't counter gank. You would just clear your own camps. And again, just abuse their inefficiency by being mega efficient, because then when you get to gank, you're going to be way stronger. Because again, if you farm and then you gank, you're level 5, level 6. If Riven's not farming and then ganking, they're level 3, level 4 on some of these ganks. Like you can see, you're still up 2 levels on Riven, but you're forcing more ganks. You have a camp up. Do your camp and then go bot side and look for the bottom side play. Don't look for these types of forces. Now it works, which is great, but this isn't a consistent play that we're going to expect to work a lot of time with a Garen who's half health and has flash when Riven's on this side of the map, and you already have camps up. Like again, we're just kind of wasting a lot of time. And a lot of times it does also just lead to these additional things where sometimes you might end up dying. So even though we did get a kill, which is great, we nearly die here, barely live, really messy, whatever. And so again, all I'm telling you is that I want you to first be clearing your camps before doing these types of forces, because again, you could just mega abuse the fact that these junglers are inefficient. Like instead, you're just forcing ganks as well. When you have these camps up, you're overly concerned with contesting in counter ganking all the time. And then again, you just lose out on all this efficiency because once again, your red side, this is only the second time that you've cleared your red side and you're clearing it at 5 minutes. Normally, the third
Yeah.
time you clear your red side when you start, or the third time you clear it should be around, what you call it, like 5:30. So like you're doing only your second side. This is again 450 gold that you basically just lost out on due to inefficiency, right? So, or well, you should be rather on your blue side. So like normally, because you started blue this game, yeah. So you'd go blue, red, and then blue side. But you can see you've only done blue side and red side twice each. Normally you're supposed to do one time, or one of them 3 times, and the other twice. So you're losing out again on 450 gold basically, just from not clearing those camps. So it's kind of a problem, right? And either way, again, like the reason this game works out, again, like I'm not saying this is flame, obviously, it's just the point where we're trying to help you get better, is really just that your opponents were extremely bad. Like, frankly, you know, your Riven was like really dumb, forcing a lot of ganks, and luckily your ganks worked out. I'm not saying you played awful or anything, but we can see a lot of these mistakes. So, do you have questions? I know I've kind of talked a lot. It's mainly efficiency based. Do you have any questions about any of that or anything like that?
Yeah, so you mentioned counter-ganking. Yeah, I had it on my mind actually because most of the time, or I think it's normal, you know, when you see that the opponent is ganking your side lanes or whatever,
Yeah.
you feel the pressure to, you know, respond to that. So
And pause
normally
by
what
the way, because I
I
do want
would,
to talk about something after this. So pause and then go ahead.
yeah, okay. So the pressure is always I feel that if you're able to gank, I have to counter gank either by joining the fight or to go to the opposite lane.
Yeah.
Or if not, if I were to be using a late game jungler, this season I climb using Vi and Nyla most of the time. My wins are just from them. So if I were to play Nyla, for example, I would focus purely on farming, which is very selfish. But
Yeah.
when I get to the game, I know it's not an issue because I'm more than capable to carry the game by myself.
Yeah.
But with Vi, I feel that the how do I say this? The influence on the match from the start to get my team to mid game is greater
Yeah,
on
it's
me
a
because
champion who is a bit more like
yeah,
team focused. You're
team
not
fight
solo
oriented.
carrying
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So sometimes I'm in a dilemma of either joining the fight
Yeah, I understand.
or just farming instead, you know.
And so this is a good thing because like Vi is actually my most played jungler. I think I have a 69% win rate with like, and I'm like 78 marks right now with Vi.
Yeah.
And Warwick, those are the main two I play. And so this is a champion I play a lot. I have a lot of knowledge of, and I've played probably 1,000 games of her at this point. So the reason that like and your thought process makes a lot of sense because Vi is a champion that has really good ganking, that is tanky, that wants to play around her team to some extent. But the difference between Vi and say Rammus or Maokai or like these types is that her clear speed is absurdly broken. Like she clears super fast.
Yeah.
And so if you're not getting like you can both be efficient, farm, have a bunch of gold, and still gank a bunch. The problem is you're playing it like you're Rammus, and where like Rammus does have to sometimes be like, I'm not gonna clear that camp because my job is just gank. That's not your champ. Your champ can do both, and so you need to have both efficiency and also awareness of lanes. And so the way that you can both be efficient and still be able to gank these lanes properly is a lot to do with, again, knowledge of lane matchups and understanding where I should path from minute one. So again, for example, this game, we didn't have a lot of gank opportunities early because the lanes were bad to gank, right? Like Garen's hard to gank and Braum Lucian are hard to gank, and we don't have good gank setup. And so this should be a game where you're thinking, okay, my goal is just clear my camps, and then after my camps are cleared, that's when I'll spend my time ganking because I don't have a lot of great opportunities or great things to look for. Whereas if I'm playing, you know, a different, like I don't know, they have a Kale and we have something good or Renekton, like maybe I can do 5 camps and then I see Renekton when I'm pathing towards them already has the Kale to half HP pushed under their turret and they're full HP with a big wave, well then I'll skip one camp and I'll dive because there's a super high likelihood of that happening, and I'm reliant on snowballing because we don't want Kale to go late, and maybe I know the junglers on the other side. So like if you have all this information, then it's okay to do these types of things. But the problem is, again, you're doing it very frequently, and you're doing it too much where again you're getting obsessed with ganking and counter ganking and whatever else. So that's basically that. Does that make sense? Do you have questions about what I just said there?
Yeah, it does because I wanted to. I mean, you already mentioned Ramos. I wanted to ask you about this as well. Actually, like you mentioned, I've seen players. Whether I watch YouTube videos or when I play against them, when they use champs like Rammus or
Mm-hmm.
what's the other one called? Nunu, is it?
Nunu, yeah.
They do a double buff and then one or two camp clear and then they straight away went to gank.
Yeah.
And I've played against because like I said, I played Niall a lot. So when I play her naturally, I expect aggression from the opposite jungler, which I always come
Yeah.
up against either Lee Sin or Vi. So what they would do is either one they would invade me, or second is that they would just outgang me,
Yeah.
outgang my other lanes because I would reach there later than they do, you know. So I wanted to ask if how do I know whether it's how can I take advantage of um
About champion like
my how
Rammus
do I
doing
say
these
this?
types of things.
Yeah, Remus and Vibe. Because like you mentioned, they can set up or they can engage in gangs and all, you know. And like you
Yeah.
and I do agree. Yeah, Vice clearing is disgustingly
No, I mean
fast.
the way you take advantage of these champions is efficiency, but the thing is, okay, like if a Rammus is ganking, let's say Rammus does 5 ganks in the first 6 minutes, and you're Nyla, you maybe do 1. Like you're going to, on average, lose the early game, even if he's doing bad ganks, because you're Nyla. Like you are the weakest early game jungler for the most part. Like I don't even know if Kale. Honestly, I would say Kale might even be a stronger early game jungler than you.
Yeah,
So yes, like you are going to generally fall behind here. If we watch, do you know who Corrupt is?
yeah. I watched him two
Yeah.
times.
So Corrupt, rank 1 Nyla, very, very good at this champion, very good at carry junglers. When I play against Corrupt and I play Vi, for example, and he plays Nyla, I usually am ahead in early game. It doesn't matter it's Corrupt and that he's better than me. He's a really, really good jungler, much better than I am. But I'm still usually winning early game because I'm Vi. But the difference is when we get to 8, 9, 10 minutes, all of a sudden his gold spikes and then he catches up to me. And then by 15 minutes, he's ahead 2k. And then he kills my entire team. And so, yes, as Nyla, the only thing you can do early game is just farm in an efficient manner.
Yeah,
Occasionally, if you see an opportunity to gank, because you have a lot of good factors going for you, like your teammates blew their flashes, or the enemy are really low, or the jungler's on the other side, or whatever. If you have these things, then you can go for a gank, because Corrupt does find these gank angles, and usually he ends the early games on Nyla like 1-0, 1-0 and 1, 0-0 and 2. Like he's still strong, he doesn't die. You know, he just makes a couple efficient plays that are decent. And then when the Rammus does those ganks and the Rammus gets 5 kills, maybe sometimes you're going to lose the game, but at least you're going to still be carrying, or you're still going to be strong enough where you could carry, potentially. And then in the games where
yeah,
Rammus doesn't, like, because sometimes Rammus ganks and the ganks don't work, then you're ahead, 500, 1,000 gold early game on Nyla, and then boom, like, how are you going to lose, right? So
yeah,
ultimately, efficiency in the first 6 minutes is all you can do. You can't do too much more because you're Nyla. And then when you get to the point where the jungler can now take waves, well now okay, we go opposite side of Rammus. We make sure we're valuing the wave gold, we're playing around turrets, we're playing around still farming our camps efficiently at the same time. When Rammus shows to gank at 7 minutes, now I'm strong enough where I can maybe invade him, or I can push a opposite side turret, we play opposite side of him a bunch, and then we carry later. So that's like basically what you can do. Does that make sense?
yeah. He does. Thanks.
Okay, and
Can we
then
continue?
click scoreboard. Because now we'll go into the
Okay.
replay. This is what I wanted to talk about. So I wanted to look, okay, so like our Gwen is way stronger than Garen, and the Garen is Sunfire, and yet you go and you try to contest the Riven again. Like this is the problem, right? You're constantly trying to contest, and also your blue side camps are up, so you even would rather be blue side, and Herald is a better objective, so we'd also rather be Herald. And yet you once again force another gank bot. So you can play the replay. This is the main thing I wanted to mention, is that again,
Yeah,
we want to go to the objective of our strong laner. We don't want to constantly contest and contest and contest if our, Lucian and Braum are super fucking broken early game. And
yeah,
they should beat you in the skirmish. Like what you're doing right now, you should lose this. And that's why, because Braum, what did he do? He just, he shields your teammate's thing, and then you get one shot here, and yeah, you do, it's a bad skirmish. Like
yeah,
I could have told you this is going to happen before it happened. Like, for the most part, and it ends up being messy, and it's not like the worst outcome ever. Cat gets some kills, whatever. But imagine you just go to Gwen, you're gonna stop that turret from dying, because now if Gwen lost her turret, you're gonna get the Herald, you're gonna get turret yourself, you're gonna have gold, you're gonna be snowballing. Instead, we end up going for a super messy fight into super strong early game duo lane that's winning lane, and I think the only reason this really works is because their Riven is, silver, right? So that's great.
yeah,
But yeah, basically the gist of it is we need to be contesting our stronger laners' objectives. So if the Dragon lane are the ones doing well, then you contest that objective. Ultimately, the objectives aren't differing enough in strength for you to really choose based on the objective itself. We're more so choosing based on lane strength. And then again here, this
I
lack of
see. Okay.
efficiency, you have a full red side up, go farm it. If you want to quickly farm this top side, I don't hate it, but you should be going to your red side right after. Like, you, again, are just constantly really inefficient with your clear. And now you
Okay.
lose out on additional gold, and it's kind of problematic. So if you stay here and you get the turret, it's not the end of the world, though, because your Gwen did get the Herald. So if our goal is like, okay, I'm gonna stay around, I'm gonna get a turret, that's not the end of the world. I don't like hate it, but again, the problem is we could have been super efficient and then played around the bottom lane turret, for example. But instead, the reason you keep being matched with this Riven is because you're both being really inefficient, so you're staying matched with them. Whereas if you're, again, out farming them, you're gonna have a lot of ganks on sides where the Riven isn't, or you're gonna be up a lot more levels and stronger and whatever. So
Okay. Well, the reason I went for the drag early on was because maybe maybe I'm just stuck in this mindset where I chose to prio not allowing the enemy to get Dragon Soul, you know. But
well, they're not
what
gonna
do you
get
think about
soul
that?
if you like. You're doing a better job of denying them soul by contesting Herald. Like, you're going to be more likely to stop them from getting soul if you go Herald. So like, think about it this way. So in order to get the Dragon Soul, you have to win Dragon Fight at 6 minutes, you have to win at about 11 minutes, and you have to win again at about 15, 16 minutes, right? Like, you have to win those 3 fights.
Yeah.
You agree with me, for the most part? I mean, you
Yeah.
could steal one objective
Yeah.
sometimes, but usually you have to win them, right?
Yep.
And so, individual dragons, are you in agreement that individual dragons are pretty useless? Like, an ocean dragon doesn't matter, infernal
Yeah.
dragon's not that useful. It's only really the soul that's scary, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone wins a fight against me at 6 minutes, which is relatively early game, they win a fight against me at 11 minutes, which is relatively, mid game, and then they win at 16 minutes, which is kind of late game. Do you think that I'm going to beat them regardless? Like, I lost fights in the early game, in the mid game, in the late game. We're probably going to lose that game anyway. So your real goal and your real way to deny soul is just to be stronger than them at one of those points. So in the easiest points to be stronger than them is usually more so the late game or the mid game, because if we're fighting Riven, Lucian, Braum early game, because again, I'm saying don't contest the early games. I'm not saying don't contest a Vayne Yuumi who are losing lane. I'm saying don't contest the early game ones, right? And so yeah, our hardest time to beat the Lucian, Riven, Braum is early game, not later on. So if we're only contesting them later on, we're going to be more likely to win those. Whereas what happens if you contest Dragon, you lose Dragon, now all of a sudden the enemy are more likely to win the future Dragons, because now they get to possibly go contest Herald after, because they killed you at this objective, hypothetically, and whatnot. So it's actually going to be more effective to not contest when we have weaker laners for that reason. And not to mention, this is Ocean Soul, and you're a largely burst-focused comp. So burst-focused comps don't really care about an Ocean Soul, because Ocean Soul is about sustaining when people poke them. So it also, like, in this specific game, is even more of a useless choice. But yeah, does that make sense about the thought process, or do you have questions or disagreements with that or anything?
No, I got you. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. And then at this point, you're doing the correct thing of hovering the Baron. I don't really like trying to one-shot. You didn't do this, though. This wasn't you. Yeah, this wasn't you. It's just your teammates did it.
But no, okay, at this point, let me just say this. I was pinging the whole team. I had no smite.
Yeah, no, this is not your fault. Like, your teammates hit it. I mean, you should have not even encouraged it. But, like, that's a little rough. Your teammate, like, you should have not hit it even then, since you didn't have smite. If you had smite, I'd be like, okay, we'll just fucking YOLO it and hope. But if you had no smite, you should have not even tried. Or you should have tried to go over the wall and fight them. But it is still, like, why the fuck did our team? Like, that's kind of unfortunate. I totally see that, and that's not really something we're gonna have to, like, coach on. It's just unlucky.
Yeah.
And your team ended up killing them all, which is kind of funny. So it's not the worst outcome ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that sucks. Either way. Main things, again, to focus on is early game. Just focus on doing your normal clear, and then find the opportunities to gank in between your normal clear. Again, if you watch, like, my gameplays, this kind of can give examples of how that typically might look. And also, there's going to be games where I am kind of inefficient and trying to figure out why. Like, you watch a player and you're like, oh, well, like, a talent says to be efficient here, but for some reason he wasn't in this situation. Why is that? Because usually there's some type of reason, and if you can give me a really specific reason as to why you should be inefficient, then it's okay. Like, if you're like, okay, yes, normally I should just go and farm everything, but they have a Kale who's, no flash, no barrier, and 1 HP, and my teammate is a strong early game champion, and the jungler's on the other side of the map, then like, yeah, you can be inefficient, you know, like that's different. And so as long as we're understanding that in the early game, I'm happy. Then again at Dragon, make sure we're contesting the objective of our stronger laner rather than just contesting drag every time. And then like your mid game gameplay so far, for the most part, is fine. The Baron thing obviously is kind of unlucky. I'm overall pretty fine with how you're playing your mid game. You're relatively efficient at this point. You could have probably cleared, you know, a few more camps on your way to different things, but overall is pretty fine. So
Yeah, I generally hate flipping objectives because
yeah,
there's always the risk of them, you know. So what I usually like to do is to set up a great position for team fight.
yeah, for
Because
sure.
because naturally when the objective spawns, the opponent will, you know, be going towards there as well.
Yeah, no, I get you. And so this is actually, there was a mistake here too in terms of tempo. So like you ended up after that fight, instead of recalling, you farmed the red and then you recalled, but the dragon was still up, so you couldn't contest dragon. So this is basically the concept of tempo, and the main issue is when we don't reset quick enough. So this often also happens when we get a Baron, and then our Baron's expiring, and the enemy are respawning, and then we still stay up, try to push an extra turret, we die, and we lose the game. Like, that's the type of thing.
Yeah.
Here, you just lost a dragon out of it. It's not the end of the world, but you could have possibly contested, for example, or at least zone them off until your team comes up. And so we just need to understand, like, sometimes we can, again, be slightly inefficient, funnily enough, given the fact of what we've talked about largely, in order to have slightly better tempo so that we can get to an objective faster, or that we don't get caught out, that type of thing. So there's that. And then also you shouldn't have ulted a full health Garen just to keep him in place a bit longer, just because we're kind of like wasting our ult, whereas it's a lot more important to kind of hold that if someone shows up. For example, if that Riven showed up, you know, you'd be able to stop Riven way better, because Riven's going to get countered a lot harder by that CC than someone like Garen, who can usually escape. And so again, with your like ultimate, I think there's a lot of times where you kind of use your ultimate to, like, this is how you want to use your ult. You Q on someone, you do damage, then they flash away or dash away, then you ult them. A lot of times you're queuing, you land your Q, you auto attack, you E, and then you, well, you don't, you just auto attack once and then you ult immediately. A lot of times, again, we want to wait to ult until people use mobility, they use a flash, they use something, because if we do it earlier, then usually they can just flash away, dash away, something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Do you have any questions? I know I mentioned like a couple different things. Anything about anything we talked about?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. I think we've probably found a lot of the main issues now, is largely, again, relating to efficiency. So that's probably going to be the main thing I'm going to want you to focus on. And again, as Vi, it is a champion where you don't always have to be the most efficient, because you're right about the fact that your champion can kind of do both. And so it's a champion that does require like additional knowledge of the game for those reasons. But I definitely think, I mean, you're like a decent player, and you've also played lanes, like mid lane and whatever, so you understand that, how the different lane matchups go, at least to some extent. And yeah, but your mid game is largely good, is also what I do want to point out. Like, funnily, it's usually more early game, or more mid game rather, than I'm telling people. Like, there's a lot of different things to work on, but for you, largely, it's just the early game that I think is like the thing that can be improved the most. So
Okay. Because normally I just feel like I have to take the initiative during the
yeah,
early game to get my team a lead, whether it's my side lanes or me, you know. So,
yeah, I
but
get
yeah,
that.
like you said, I've been inefficient this game.
And yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on the champ, yeah. But for like a champion like Vi especially. And again, this is really good ult, like I'm happy with that. You're mega tanky. I'm assuming you have Gargoyle here, so like you're, yeah.
Yeah. I recently learned that if I use my second and Gargoyle together, I get more shield. And
Wait, like a higher percentage of shielding, or what do you mean?
yeah.
How does that work? What is your, I
So,
don't even know how the shield exactly scales, like the W shield, so.
I don't know. I think I was watching you or someone else. I read a comment. It said that if you can stack the shield percentage if you activate your, like, if you had a skill that has shielding like Vice second, and then you use it with Gargoyle, and then you will stack to get more shield.
So do you use the W first, or do you use the Gargoyle first?
I use the W first,
Okay,
and then I
I
get
didn't
more
know
shield.
that. I guess I missed that comment. I don't remember reading a comment like that, um, but yeah, I mean, the early game, or this game, part of the game, again, you play it well. At this point, you guys are ahead a lot, so obviously really good. Um, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna have too many other things. So I guess it's 3 more minutes, so we'll see. But again, this you
I
can
mean,
kind of see.
I can fast forward a bit.
You don't need to fast forward. I mean, we're fine. We have time. Like we have we have time. I'm not in like a rush.
Yeah, okay. So at this point in time, I saw that I knew I just had a feeling because I could tell from how the past 70 minutes like when my dual lane they like to overstay in position when they should be resetting.
Yeah,
So in my mind I was thinking, okay, maybe I should join them, but then I recall and then they died. So at that point I was like regretting my decision, you
yeah.
know.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Was like the kind of overstaying for turrets after, and this was kind of the situation that happens a lot. Is like we don't need to stay with our teammates when they're overstaying here after we got the inhibs. And the reason you didn't is because if they died, all you would lose is a dragon. Like losing the dragon because each team has one dragon doesn't matter. You know, you talked about the soul. There's no soul on the table. We don't care, right? So if your teammates were doing that and it's right before Elder, then like you gotta stay with them to try to make sure they don't die or whatever. Because like either they die and you lose Elder and you lose a game, or you don't, right? So
Yeah.
it depends on what you'll lose after. If you're not going to lose much after, you don't have to try to overforce with your team and do the dumb stuff they're doing. But if there's something really big, then you might need to be a bit more like that.
Okay.
And then here we just need to wait for them to respawn. Like as long as you don't force before your teammates come back, hover Baron. I mean, you're doing everything you should here at the moment. So
I generally prio Elder over Baron. Is that the wrong move?
no, yeah, you probably over Elder over Baron because you use Elder to get Baron and then you end the game that way. That's perfectly fine. But the Baron was up first, which is why you're on the Baron side, and that's what we would want.
Yeah.
But no, there's no problem with what you're doing. And this Riven is a griefer. Like I don't know what
Yeah,
else
she
to
was.
say. I'm surprised you guys don't end off this. I guess like you probably could have. I think you
No,
could have.
they ended it. They ended it. I did not believe that we could, so I went for Elder for insurance, but they ended it themselves, I think, if I'm not wrong. Let me just fast forward. I think they did.
No, it looks like you guys just do this in Baron because the game doesn't end until 2042. So it looks
Yeah,
like you guys do this in
that was
Baron.
another game.
Yeah. Which I mean, this isn't bad. Like I don't mind if you're thinking, oh, there's like if you think there's a 90% chance of ending and a 10% chance of not. You have like a 95% chance of winning if you get Elder and Baron anyway. So I don't really hate this. Like this isn't something I'm like gonna be nitpicking you about. I was just like thinking like, oh, I think they could probably end, not like a you needed to end or else you're throwing the game here, because you can just get Baron and win anyways. For some reason your Forky didn't contest with you, but as long as you just do this, you reset and then you come back, like you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I think that was kind of straightforward, so
Yeah.
we can go for the next one.
Yep.
Okay, the other game I have in mind is okay. I was thinking of
Oh,
this
also
game
never
or
build Blade of the Rune
the
King again on Vibe, please. Don't do that. Don't do that.
okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, I was okay, yeah. I wanted to ask you about this because I seen it in what do you call it, the pro player build or like those the high ranking ones. And
Yeah, no,
my top
I've
roasters
seen it too. Like
for
I had
DPS
a
and all.
sovereign Vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what do I even build against a tanky composition at this point? Do I build Sundered Sky? Is it what it's
Yeah,
called?
Sunder Sky does well into tanks. Like it's a very good item into tanks. You're going Death Dance after. Like these are fine items. Your champion does well into tanks already. You don't need to itemize super hard against tanks, because you would
Okay.
have fine items into them, and your passive obviously does really well into them. So there's no reason.
Yeah.
Because Blade of the Rune King, the problem is it makes you super squishy. Because then you have like very little
Ah,
tankiness,
okay.
and you're just gonna get one shot. So
So your build is usually fine because I follow your build when I build Vibe.
yeah, that
Anyways.
build, like, really the real differences the different things you're gonna do is you're always gonna do Trinity Force. Then defensive boots is just whichever defensive boots fits the game. Sundered Sky is like 99% of the time, and then it's Death Dance, or if you really need, you can go Ma instead. And then whatever tank item. Usually Twin Guard's like the best, but like you can go other tank item like Frozen Heart or Randuin's, or sometimes third item if they have like 3 crit, I'll go Randuin's instead of Death Dance. But that's about it.
Okay, I'm thinking of showing you either the Wukong game or the Vi game because those games I got stormed. But this game as a jungler, I feel like I didn't have much impact and my team carried
Yeah.
me. So, um, which one would you rather watch?
I mean, that's up to you, because again, it depends on what you think, like, your problems are, or what you want to learn from. So I don't really have a
Okay.
preference because I haven't seen the game, so I don't know. Like,
Mm, okay, let's go for the longest one. This is 20 minutes. But wait, let me think. It's 15.
Also, if you're gonna go
Okay, I
Duskblade,
should.
you should go Duskblade first and Trinity second, by the way. But
Okay. Um, if I'm not wrong, this guy he was one of the top Irelia, so I got stomped by him.
yeah,
But
looks like he swerved.
maybe.
So this is a game, for example, where I want to path towards Aurelia Camille. So like, the reason I want to path towards Aurelia Camille is because Xayah Yuumi don't set up ganks. Like, I'm not gonna get a gank on Xayah Yuumi 99% of the time. I mean, every once in a while, the enemy but like, Ezreal is super hard to gank, right? He's maybe the hardest
Yeah,
ADC in the game to gank, like with his E. At least before level 5. Xayah's probably harder after level 5. And then Malphite is like tanky, right? So even though Malphite's weird as a sport, he's tanky, he's hard to kill. Like, I don't think you're going to go here and get a kill. Now, you're going to prove me wrong in 20 seconds, which is going to be funny, right? But generally speaking, pretty unlikely to get a kill. Whereas Camille and Aurelia does win, but you're not only looking at who's going to win, you're also looking at how likely they are to fight, right? Because if you're there, it's more likely to...
Yeah.
So because of the fact that Aurelia is going to be aggressive and going to be fighting, like pathing towards them, where you expect more things to happen, is going to be good. Now, say that you had your dual lane was Xayah and Thresh, then I would go to Xayah and Thresh because it's both a winning lane and strong early game, and like good, you know, ganking potential because they can set up your gank. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so these choices are already what are making you, for example, in games be like, oh, Rammus ganked 3 times and they all worked and none of mine were. Like, this is already a choice that makes it hard to be efficient, because if we go to the wrong lane at the start of the game, like, there is probably... And then look, right, like, it really has half health already. Like, this is what's going to be happening in a lot of these games when we properly identify who to gank. And then sometimes you're going to be wrong, or not even wrong, but it's just not going to go how you expect. Like, sometimes you decide to path towards the Kayle because he's into your Renekton, and your Renekton gets solo killed by Kayle at level 3. Like, you know, you can't always predict. We're just trying to. So
Yeah,
and
so
like
at this
here,
point in time, I was thinking,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, yeah, at this point in time, I was thinking I should have started my raid instead, because
Yeah.
I always expect Irelia to, you know, they usually end up fighting a lot in the first 2 minutes, and one of them will get a kill.
Yeah. And so this is the type of thing where it's actually fine for you to like skip your camp if you saw, like, this was fine. You were looking to skip your camp and then he didn't go further, so you didn't. This is when I'm okay with you just doing 5, because in this case the Rengar actually, like, you know, he shows early on the gank and you're like, oh, I can maybe go. But now what you can do is you can just recall and go do your scuttle on the top side. And the reason, and you do that, so you seem to understand, is because he probably skipped the camp, the Rengar, since he did that gank early. And so you know, like, he's probably not going to contest top side. But we're probably not going to want to spend too much time on top side, given the fact that Aurelia already solo killed. So like, now that Aurelia already solo killed and Rengar's batching you and Rengar's going to have ult soon, you don't really want a hard contest. Like, you can go here to stop him from dying, but you're not really trying the hard contest because you're going to lose the 2v2. We'll see what happens, but yeah. That's typically how it's going to go. And so now, like, your Xayah also got a kill. So like, your thought process is pretty much, I'm just here on my blue side just to clear the camps. I'll, like, you know, I'll hover here, but I'm not going to really look to gank. So as soon as your camps come, you just immediately go to them. Like, the difference is, well, what do? You try to pry out the gank, or at least you kind of hover here. We're just missing out on a bit of time, but that's fine. Like, if you're there for 5 seconds, I don't care. And then Rengar is inefficient, so I think you look to invade, which I'm pretty okay with. Because, yeah, if he's going to be inefficient like that, then I'm pretty fine with you doing this.
What situation would you normally overstay in a lane?
Wait, why didn't you do the Raptors? You could have just done the Raptors there. Like, you're just prioritizing a gank. You
Because yeah, I knew that because he was low, so he was gonna recall, and
yeah, but
he started the same side as I
Rengar
did.
stayed bot side, so like, we knew he's not gonna immediately be contesting us, so we could have taken those and then just got out right out after.
Yeah, at that point I didn't want to take the risk.
Yeah, but there wasn't a risk, is the thing. Like, just because you're invading, it's not always a risk. Like, we knew he wasn't there. We knew he couldn't possibly get there fast enough. Like, we're going to be fine. Like, even if he ults in, the worst case, you would just ult out and, like, maybe flash. And then here, you wasted your mobility. So you remember how I was saying don't Q and then ult on Vi? It's the same with your flash and then your ult and your dash and whatever on Wukong. Like, you used your flash right away and your third ability, so now you had no mobility to catch him. And then this is kind of why the Aurelia shits on you here. The Aurelia, you know, plays it well for sure. But it's because you didn't hold onto your mobility, right? You need to wait until they dash out or they flash out, and then you use your mobility to follow. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And yeah, this Aurelia is smurfing. So I can kind of see like this is gonna be the type of game where, okay, early game went super bad. It's gonna be pretty hard to come back at this point, but because they are kind of, you know, a lot of early game champions, it's not unwinnable. But largely what you're gonna have to do when a game goes this bad. Well, do you know what I'm gonna tell you? Do you know what I'm gonna tell you you have to do when a game goes really bad?
I would take my jungle and the other lanes after 6 minutes.
Take the camp, you mean
Uh,
the waves?
yeah, at that point I would
Yeah.
just hyper farm.
But the thing that you largely need to do, it's not necessarily just hyper farm when you're behind. What you need to do when you're behind is try to make a play opposite of the enemy jungler, or opposite of their strong people. So like,
Okay.
you're never gonna look at Aurelia again for the rest of the game. The Aurelia is so fed that the only way you win is if Aurelia just, you know, ends up getting outscaled super hard.
Yeah.
And again, you're gonna largely make plays away from the enemy's strong people and towards your strong-ish people. Like your Xayah Yuumi aren't that far behind compared to your top laner. And again, we want to make plays away from the enemy jungle and just do those types of things. So largely, we're just looking to never contest the enemy and to just make plays around people like our Xayah, for example. But obviously, our Xayah goes and dies to Aurelia, and you know it's kind of unlucky here. But largely, your mistakes here were, again, the initial pathing already was one, you know, thing that was kind of an issue, and then the, you know, inefficient use of your mobility, leading to you getting outplayed really hard by the Aurelia. You know, these types of mechanical champions are going to look for these types of outplays. And then here, don't even contest an objective, just do your camps. Like, you're not contesting anything here. Like, yeah, you just do your camps, and then you give them Herald. And then, so what you can do a lot of times is after you give them Herald, you end up going back bot side and playing for that bot turret. Because, again, what's going to happen is you're going to do this a lot of times because they're so much stronger, they're just going to contest you here because Rengar's going to kill it first. He can ult over. He doesn't have ult right now, but a lot of times he can ult over, and then they can come and contest you. But even if you get it, like, you don't get that much out of this, right? Like, your entire team's going to die mid. They're just going to come and contest you after, and I think you barely make it out. But yeah, a lot more consistent of a play is, again, we clear a full blue side, we recall, and then we go bot lane and play for bot turret. Because, again, we want to play opposite of the enemy jungler. And if they just kill Dragon, they're obviously going to go Herald, right? Like, that makes sense as to why they're going to do that, or no?
Yeah.
And so if they're going to go Herald, we know where they are. This is when we can make a play to get a comeback. Because we're just constantly looking for the gold bounties on turrets, and again, playing away from the jungler. But instead, you go and you can test the top side when you know their jungler is here. Go do all your bot side camps, and then make a play away from him again. Like, we don't need to constantly be matching the jungler in all these situations.
Yeah. My decision making this game was to be honest, it was quite shit. Because I think at 7 minutes and I don't usually get tilted. At this point I was like, okay, you're gonna lose. I will die
This
for
game is
for
like this
turret.
game is very unwinnable at this point, unless the enemy do something really stupid. So, you know, these are frustrating. Like, it's normal to get frustrated by this. Like, I make videos all the time telling people, you know, have good mental, don't blame your team, whatever. I blame my team. Like, if anyone watches my stream, I blame my teammates quite frequently. I get mad frequently, and when a game like this happens, I get tilted too. You know, it's normal. You know, it's not like an unreasonable thing. The thing that you need to understand, though, is just to have habits and things that you can do in these games that, so even though I'm tilted, you know, like I'm tilted at this point like you are, I'm still going to be thinking, I need to go opposite side of jungle, I need to make plays on opposite side of the map, and I need to play for gold bounties. And so because I'm thinking that, I still have a chance of coming back, even if I'm, you know, on my stream saying, oh, this fucking team is so unlucky and it's unwinnable. At least I'm doing the things that lead to the game being winnable. Which again are just largely making the plays the opposite side. Also, you could have used your clone better to bait, and I'm pretty sure you could have possibly lived, maybe not, you know. But you know what I mean, right? With the clone like going the opposite way of you. So that'd be ideal. But it's all good. I mean, again, at this point, I don't mind what you did there. So even though you died there, why was that okay? Because you were looking for the possibility of making the bottom, getting the bottom side turret, making a play around there, and you're getting a wave, so you're pushing it out so they can't get your turrets. The issue is you knew that you were matched with the enemy jungler, so he would probably be bot side, which he was. Why did you know you were matched? Because you saw him on top side when you were on top side, right? So, of course, you're going to be matched, and the problem is, again, when we make the plays when we're matched, when we're weaker, we're going to lose. Because if you're weaker and you make a play when you're matched, it's not going to work well. Which is the same reason it doesn't make sense to force a fight in mid lane when they're all full health. Because in mid lane, they can always match you. But if you're on a side lane and they're other side, they can't. So we just really need to understand that concept for coming back from behind. I can't speak. But, make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. This really is kind of clean, though.
Yeah, she is. After this game, I checked her out.
Oh. She did int, so we'll take it. And see, like right after she ints, just go bot side, clear bot side camps, and look for something. Which I think you do, so that's good. I meant even bot side wave, like you can do either. But when we are in these situations too, when the enemy fed person does get cocky, we want to try taking advantage of that. So like this is the time where it makes sense to use your flash to force something if you saw someone, because like Aurelia is dead. I don't think you're gonna find anything regardless. It's just, you know, that'd be the time to try.
Yeah. So I also have this problem because like I said, I do generally play a lot of late game heroes apart from Vi, but I find myself in a situation where, because you know how weak Nala is early game, normally it takes me, if I reach at least 3 or 4 items, then I would know that okay, I'm able to make an impact. So what I would normally do is I would just not even contest the Baron if I was losing in gold by at least 5k or more.
Yeah.
But so what happens because of that is I would get at least the second turret, but in return the opponent will get control over the other two part of the other two lanes, I mean.
Yeah, no, and that's
And
fine if you're behind. Like if you're behind and you just want to get something, that's what you're trying to do when you're behind, is just get an advantage somewhere. So if you're getting those turrets, you're getting some gold on yourself. Even if you're giving stuff up, that's exactly what you're looking for. The problem is that's not what you're doing here. Like I know Wukong's more early game focused, but it doesn't mean that
yeah,
you can't, you know, make these comeback plays and still find the comebacks. Because again, you ended up forcing, and even there, like the dragon was spawning in 20 seconds, and you decided to try to play on the bottom lane turret and the bottom lane wave. That doesn't make sense because you know they're going to be there in 20 seconds because the objective's spawning. You need to be making these plays again away from these objectives. So the Baron one, you have to be behind quite a lot to give up Baron. Like you said, 5k plus is fine. But the problem is, Dragon you can give up when you're down like a 1k because it's just a dragon. So in these situations, you're down 10k and you're on the same side of the dragon as it's spawning, and then the enemy, like your tempo's screwed up, now you don't get to push out top side and find that comeback angle again. So that's like more the issue. But I don't know if
yeah.
that answered your question or not, but
No, it did.
okay.
But but yeah, it's like you said, it's a decision they have to make because the opponent will either go for the second drag for their team or they will go for Baron.
Yeah, and usually you're
So
just gonna want to contest Baron, unless yeah you're super behind, basically.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean you could probably skip through this, like you're down 13k. Like we can
yeah.
fast forward and see, but I don't think we see that much.
No, there was nothing much.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually I have this issue where because I'm used to playing a weak champ, I kind of, apart from Vi,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know her limits as much as you do, but when I'm under farm, I don't even partake in like trying to engage for the team fight for my team, which I feel that sometimes I could do more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Vi
Whereas
is a
at this point in
champion where when you're
time,
behind, you can still make plays for your team if you have someone strong. So some
yeah,
games you have a bad early game on Vi, but your Xayah Yuumi gets super fed, and then you're like, okay, now my job is just to ult, you know, the Aurelia who keeps diving on my Xayah, or whatever, or the Rengar. Or like,
yeah,
so sometimes, yeah, you can fall behind and still be useful, but if you fall behind and your team's behind, that's when you're going to do what you say, or what I'm talking about, the like play opposite side and that type of stuff. Were you saying anything more about that, though? I know I kind of cut you off.
no, no, not really.
Just that? Okay.
But yeah, I think the next time I ask you for coaching, it will be probably for an Isla game. I'll probably like look towards that.
For a Nyla game, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing I realized about Vi is that I kind of get annoyed about this, which is why I kind of switched to another recently. But I mean, I play her more. But apart from her early and mid, when she reaches 20 minutes and I know my opponent outscale me, there's nothing much I can do at that point other than try to engage and be the what do you call it? Like the
Yeah, be
one
the
who
good
absorbs
lane.
the damage for my
Yeah.
team. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it goes. Like, Vi is not... So, like, Wukong, for example, scales way worse than Vi. Like, her scaling's
yeah,
not bad. It's just not... She's not going to 1v9 late game. But if you're farming really well, you're efficient, you don't usually have that problem. Like, I don't frequently find that I feel like I'm outscaled as Vi because I'm 900 plus gold per minute. I'm having good early games, and then the game is usually over by 20 minutes, and usually by 20 minutes, like, I'm full build. Meanwhile, the enemy are like 4 items, so I'm still gonna scale well. The only time I'm not gonna scale well is when they actually hit 5 items and I'm 5 items, or maybe if it's a 4 item KO or whatever. But like, I still feel like you have enough tools with your CC and everything where the champion's not really a weak late game. Like, you're relatively good late game. So I don't find that issue too much with her. Like with Wukong, it's a little more common, but still not that often. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just that I get frustrated when I can't go all in for their backline at like 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, I mean, especially they have a veil, they have the, like, you can't,
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
I get that. Yeah, you can end.
But yeah, more or less this game. Yeah.
I'm gonna share my screen then for the notes. So
All right.
let me know when you what the.
I'm good.
It's different than normal. The heck? I think my software update made this like UI different. You see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Okay. I don't know. I hate how often they change UIs of different things. Like, it really pisses me off. But anyways, Vi Wukong. You still see the notes, right?
Yep.
Okay, so first thing is, if enemy jungle ganks inefficiently or ganks too much early, just be more efficient and abuse Vi clear speed, right? Like, don't try to counter gank over and over. Again, just be efficient and then make plays on the timers you normally get to make plays on. Don't try to deviate too much from that. But again, I think I've tried to make it clear that there's going to be those times where you do have to skip a camp, right? Like, I'm not saying to never skip camps. I'm just saying you're doing it too much right now. We have to have more specific reasons. So have more specific reasons to skip a camp. Otherwise, just don't. And again, stop me if you have questions as I'm writing this stuff. But there's that. Then there's the path towards lanes that are, or I guess I'll write it this way. Considerations to make when deciding which lane to path to. So one consideration is lane strength. And then the other is lane volatility. And then I guess some less important things. I think I wrote it here. I wrote it here? Yeah. So basically these things. Lane strength, volatility. I wrote it in another person's notes, so I might as well just copy it here. But basically, the lane strength and volatility, do you know what I mean by volatility, or do you want me to explain that at all?
I kind of get it.
You do get it? Okay.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I look at the players' ranks, or how many times they've been their rank. This is more rare, so I want to make it clear. The first two are like important, the most important. These ones are additional things that I sometimes look at. So like their rank, if I'm like I might path towards my challenger instead of my grandmaster, if I know my challenger, or if my challenger and grandmaster players are in very similar matchups. So like, the game where the first game where it was like Gwen Garen and it was Quirky Seraphine, both of those champs were pretty hard to gank. And so I would maybe base it on a player strength because I don't have, much in the first two categories. And then the last one, obviously jungle matchup. I think that's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
But those are kind of the things I take into account. And so again, I don't want you to just keep doing only path towards dual lane. I want you to take into account these things a little more when it comes to ganking, because that can help you a lot. Then contest objective of stronger laner. Again, we made this mistake where we ended up contesting that Riven, who was just mega inefficient. We could have been a lot better about that. Then yeah, like, don't have to invade when enemy over gank. We can if we have prio. Otherwise, we can just clear better than them, basically. Like, I know that's kind of a obvious thing, but yeah. First clear, need to full clear, or at least 5 camp. Like, that's not really going to be good to invade, for example, like you did the one game, because of the fact that, again, we talked about our camps respawning. So I will also mention buffs take about 230 to respawn, and small camps about 150. Use this for jungle tracking, because again, you kind of could have invaded if we were a little more aware of the timer that one time.
Yeah.
Then I'm just gonna write tempo. Do you remember what I talked about with tempo in terms of like recalling and whatnot after a play works out, or do you not remember? Do you want me to elaborate on that?
No, I remember. It's when knowing when to back off and
Yeah,
reset.
basically. Then yeah, like drag is not useful. Simple as that, right? Like we talked about the denying soul thing. Like if you lose a fight at 5, 10, and 15 minutes, you're gonna lose the game. Or well, 6, 11, and 16, whatever. Do you know how long? I don't know why I don't know this, but like I don't know. Like you kill a dragon, how long until the next one spawns? It's like 4 or 5 minutes, but I don't know the exact. If it's 4 or 4:30. Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I should
Yeah,
know that.
okay.
Like I'm the one who should know that, but I
Yeah, you
know.
should, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my bad.
By the
But
way, by the way, I have a question. You know, like you said, don't have to force objectives when you know that you're not in a position to contest for it.
yeah,
But you know when your teammates they just their brain stop working and they just operate on instinct and they just kind of go contest for it. Should I just join them or just go for just trade objectives if there's a herald and drag, for example,
so like if our team is contesting for no reason, yeah, it depends on the
Yeah,
game. So
when
if our team contests for no reason, we can follow. We can follow if we think there's a decent chance of success. So like, let's say it's first objective. My dual lane are down 500 gold each, and their jungler is down 500 gold to me, and my mid laner is up 500 gold. Like, and then say your top laner is winning by 1,000 gold. So basically the point is your mid jungle duo, like those 4 people, it's pretty even, either person could win. And then your top laner is a lot stronger, so you'd rather contest your top laner. Most of the time, I'm still going to prefer to contest my top laner. But if we already see a fight breaking out there and it looks decent enough, looks pretty 50-50, you can go because they're going to be fighting anyway. It's like fine. But if your teammates are down 1,000 each and the jungler is ahead of you because he spam ganks and it worked, and their mid laner's even, you don't want to fight, right? Like it's just you're not going to win it. So if there's a decent chance of success, and obviously I know it's kind of vague, it's sort of hard because it's a pretty general question, you can contest, but then we also need to consider if we have like a win condition somewhere else. So if you have a fed Gwen, like a 1k gold lead Gwen early game or whatever, obviously we'd rather contest that. You also have to think about things like scaling, like is contesting that important? So like if it's like a Lucian Braum and a Riven, we don't really want to contest them early. If it's pretty 50-50, because the longer the game goes, the worse Lucian Braum Riven get. So we need to understand like that type of thing. Does that answer your question, or do you have like more about that?
Yeah, so a good way for me to think about it is to go for the objective where the strong side is.
Yeah, 99% of the time. And I don't remember if I could type this yet. Yeah, I think I could contest objective a stronger laner, so I did that here. And then also for this point, it's like if it's like a game losing objective. So if your teammates are contesting a Baron, that maybe you think they shouldn't, you can still contest it because it's a Baron, But if it's a dragon, it's like I don't care. So it's also that.
Yeah, actually, I have this habit of if we are losing in goal like by quite a margin, and they're going for a major objective like a Baron or an Elder, I would not even contest for those two and try and like wait until it runs out, which most of the time it doesn't end well for us.
Yeah, most of the time you're just gonna have to contest those major objectives. So the first Baron you can sometimes give up because it lasts less, it's not as strong. After that, any like second Baron onwards or Elder, 95% of the time you have to contest. The time where there's a weird thing where sometimes the enemy take Baron at like 17 minutes and the Baron doesn't get an inhib it just like they get decent value out of it, but nothing crazy. And then they get Elder, but the Baron now won't spawn for like a minute. So then their Elder and their Baron are desynced, and then they can't end because even though they have Elder, you can just turtle under because you have a Morgana, you have good wave clear. And so like this is one of these rare cases where because there's only Elder and there's no Baron spawning anytime soon, we can give them Elder if we know there's no way we're going to win Elder and just let our Morgana or Orianna wave clear. But that's obviously rare. But does that make sense? Like that's kind of the situation where it could make sense.
No, it does. Yeah.
Okay. And then yeah, like just your general efficiency. Oh, and then in terms of fighting, do not use all mobility at once to catch a champion. Ideally, use one form of mobility to get on top of them, and another follow their flash, dash, etc. I can't type, but yeah, because again, great. I used my Q, I used my flash, and I used my ult on the Aurelia, and then she flashed away, and now I used 3 things, and she used 1 ability, and I'm screwed. Or these types of things are things I kind of see you doing a lot, and that's going to be super important for you because there's a lot of times where I'm playing Vi, it's like really important on Vi specifically, where I'm able to outplay people due to things like that, or like I wait to hold my ult. Like a common thing is, I wait until a Yone is like going to snap back, and then I ult, and my ult follows all the way when on his snap back on his 3rd ability. Like this type of thing, where you're waiting for those spells, like these timings and whatnot. That's kind of the difference between a good mechanical Vi and someone who's just playing like Vi pretty normally.
Okay.
Yeah, these are probably. Oh, and then the last thing is just like win behind, contest opposite side of enemy for the most part, and play for gold bounties. So like again, you're constantly contesting the strong Aurelia and the Rengar on objectives and doing these types of things. And then last thing is, if enemy are winning early game, this is a more specific situation. Winning early game, they get dragged quickly. Or Herald, they get drag / Herald quickly. I can't type, holy shit. Quickly before you can get the other. Give them the other objective. And play for opposite side turret. So like the specific scenario that you were in where that happened, remember the Rengar did Dragon quickly and you were Wukong, you're late, but you contested Herald. Instead of doing that, you clear your full blue side, then you go to the other side and you play for that turret. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Any questions about anything or that we wrote, or just any other questions in general?
Do you pick your junglers based on your team or your opponent's composition? Sometimes if you're not the first pick, at least.
So
Because I find myself in the
yeah,
situation
go ahead.
I found myself in the situation where, let's say I see them picking a very tanky composition, or like I feel that we need someone or a jungler that can kind of CC and all. Then I
Yeah.
will pick Rammus, but the thing is, I don't even play even 5 games of Rammus, and I pick him and it doesn't ever, because I don't know his mechanics well enough,
Yeah.
like his limits and all.
Yeah, no, so what is your jungle champion pool also? Just
If it's AP, I can play Lila comfortably, but I
you
would
play
generally pick
Wukong?
it against
Who?
more
Sorry, who was your AP? I didn't
uh
hear.
Lilia
Lilia. Okay.
against tanky composition.
So Lilia, and then
Wukong, yeah,
by Wukong,
via
Nyla.
yeah, via Wukong, Nyla. I play Warwick sometimes, but when I play Warwick, I tend to look for fights more than I farm.
So is it mostly these champions and Warwick is more rare? Are there any others?
Yeah. Nah, not really.
Okay. So mine right now are Warwick Vi and then occasionally Wukong, but mostly Warwick Vi. And so for me, and then I'll answer for what you could do kind of. For me, it's generally, okay, Vi if I need AD, Warwick if I need AP. Because Warwick, even though he builds AD, he does a lot of AP, regardless.
Okay.
And so for me, it's pretty much that simple. Then in a little additional factor is like if they're really squishy, I sometimes prefer Warwick. Like Warwick is really good into like mega squishy comp. So if I don't have too much AP, even if I have an AP mid, I can still grab him. For the most part though, Warwick Vi, they're super good in most situations. And again, it's mostly the AD AP factors since they're pretty versatile. If we're looking at you, so basically the point is I'm mostly considering my team comp, right? AP versus AD. For you, and we'll kind of exclude Warwick because you said it's mostly the other ones. If we're looking at this, so of course AP is just obvious, right? We lock in Delilia. Otherwise, if we're not lacking AP, Vi is better. Is a better engage early game jungler into tanks. Wukong is a better into squishies. So if you're wanting to do either, you do Vi into tanky to mid health, and Wukong like into really squishy. But generally, it seems you're much better at Vi. Like your Wukong mechanics currently aren't very good. If you want to get better at him, you keep playing whatever. Currently, I think your Vi is much better. So I would like if I'm you, I'm locking in Vi always compared to Wukong personally. Plus, I
Okay.
think Vi is stronger. I think Vi is the best jungler in the game. And then Nyla is pretty much a couple things. If I have an enchanter like a Lulu, Melio, it's going to make me, a little happier to do it. If I have some early game champions, I'm also happier to do it because if I have a Lucian and a Nami, they can help me get through that early game, for example. And then if I look at the enemy comp and I think that they can't, screw me over too hard. So if they're like pretty squishy as an Nyla, I know like they can't build a lot of Randuins or Thornmail or Frozen Heart, or if their jungler is not a good early game jungler or not a champion who can punish me. So if like they pick a Shyvana, nice, I get to Nyla. What did they do, right? So basically, summarize Lilia if you need AP, Vi into tankier champs if you need some type of early game, and Vi is probably your default. Wukong if they're really squishy, and Nyla if you have an enchanter or if they're not able to punish your early game. With all that said, any of these champions you could one trick if you just felt like it. They're all fine enough to one trick. Lilia is kind of hard to one trick. She gets punished pretty hard by assassins, but yeah. Questions about that or?
No. Okay. I know you mentioned this just now when you were talking about me
Yeah.
buying Ruin King on Vi. So when it comes to 10k composition, do my build remain the same or would you just stack more defensive items instead or change
Fly
your
into
standard
tanks.
sky? Yeah.
Ready.
For now, that's the other concern I have.
Yeah. So Vi into tanks under sky is still usually the thing. Then Death Dance, Flash, whatever fits. Obviously, whatever fits is very general. Then tank items. And usually your tank items you're going are fine. But no, like it's basically the same build. I mean, the whatever fits again. Like I said, is like a Maw or if they have a lot of crit Randuins. So yeah, no, it's mostly the same.
All right.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay.
That was good.
I will send you these. And see you later and good luck.
Thanks. Bye.